I'll say it. Heavenly Father, grateful for this day, grateful for all of my blessings, grateful that we're able to get on this conference call and to discuss this case, Wesley, to help us understand more and have takeaways from it. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Okay.
Good, another short one looks like.
Yeah.
What was the other case that we were doing that talked about Noodles and Company? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was
I don't remember.
it was that other restaurant one.
I don't remember. I just remember that we talked about it before, and I thought it was cool that we're doing it now. Okay.
Okay. So do we start? Is it question one? What made Noodles and Company an attractive opportunity? Is that the one?
Yeah.
So I have.
What made Noodles and Company an attractive opportunity for Aaron Kennedy in 1995?
So what I think why it was an attractive opportunity is just because there's really nothing like it that had been created yet. I mean, it sounded like there's a few of the fast casual dining, but it said that Noodles and Company kind of really helped, I guess, start that type of dining. And then also just the idea that the cuisine there was multinational and kind of different options, but also a different type of food that you don't really typically see. So I think just the uniqueness was, I guess, was a big part of the opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's to go along with that. I think it's also kind of a neat opportunity to be a part of something like that starts from the ground floor. I mean, it's good when it starts, when you start there and it's successful. It's not very fun when it fails, but. So I think those were really good points. Anything you'd add?
Yeah, all my thoughts went along with how it was unique. It was kind of a new market too, because it wasn't fast food, but it wasn't like really sit down either. I think they mentioned it was casual fast was what they called it.
Fast casual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have Noodles and Company there, by the way?
Yeah.
You do?
There's one in Idaho Falls in East Idaho, not one in Rexburg though.
And you guys are both in Rexburg?
I'm in Boise.
Oh, so have you guys ever been to one?
It's my daughter's favorite place to eat.
Okay. Well, I have never been, and they have none in Texas. I asked where the nearest one to my house is, and they said Kansas, which is not around the corner at all. So.
Yeah, we go there every couple weeks.
Okay, what caused the company's early struggles? Why do you think so?
I think
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think the biggest struggle I'd mentioned was just the food. I mean, it sounded like from the reviews it got, that was a cool idea and good service and things like that, but just when it came to the food, it wasn't that great. And so even though he spent some time with chefs and trying to create the menu, I think what he did later on by going more in depth and finding better chefs, I think helped a lot. But I think early on it was just the food that turned people away from it.
Yeah. They also streamlined their process. They talked about how they, for example, they added servers and numbers for people to grab a table. They added a fresher coat of paint. So there was probably some aesthetic parts that just made the experience better as they kind of refined their operation. So there was probably a little bit of a learning curve there.
Yeah, I'd say altogether it's mainly just lack of experience. They didn't really know exactly what they were doing. and it just took time to learn.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I agree with that.
Okay, why do you think so? We kind of discussed the why. What role should franchising play in the company's growth? I'll kind of start. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I got it first last time.
I was just going to say, I mean, franchising is a way to add, restaurants at a lower cost. So to go company store route versus franchising route, it's a lower cost way to add restaurants. And so for that reason, franchising is a more attractive avenue for some businesses like them, like their peers. It's just an easier way to grow. And they have this, these goals of growing to so many restaurants, after so, in a reasonable period of time. I think franchising may be an attractive route to accomplish that. Thoughts?
I totally agree with you. Their goal was pretty lofty, that 300 stores in just a couple of years. And I don't know if they could have done that without franchising.
Right. There's none in Dallas Fort Worth right now. What's up with that?
As far as the rate, the question says, what rate should franchising play? I think eventually it will definitely turn into a full-on franchise, but I don't think kind of starting off slow wouldn't be a bad idea, just because in the case it talked about the new implementations that they're going to have to put in with the new management, the new vice president over operations, all those things. And so I think if they just went straight 50-50 with the new ones that they want to open in the next 5 years, I think they might kind of fall a little behind with just the overwhelming amount of stuff that needs to take care of. And so I think the rate, just to start off slow and then work up to that 50%.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
They raised a lot of money really quick too. Did you guys notice they were doing offerings, it seemed like once a year? It's pretty remarkable. Okay. What are some specific advantages and disadvantages to the franchise model for Noodles, including the financial, economic, and organizational consequences? Well, I went first last time. I'll let someone start.
Oh, looks like we lost Brandon. I think the organizational, by the time that they got to by the time they got to this point, they had a pretty good idea that how they wanted their store to look like, the whole setup and everything. And so by this point, they had a good foundation that would work for franchising, because they had the setup, they had all of that worked out already. So I think that part of it would work well.
I think some disadvantage.
Yeah, and I think.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, well, are you going to say something that she was talking about? Because mine's just totally different.
Yeah, I'm going in a different direction too, but go ahead.
It's good thoughts, Sarah, but I was just thinking of something.
No, that's fine.
I was just thinking of some disadvantages that they might have, though, is just with growing. I know they said that it's a good opportunity to kind of have other managers, like their franchisees, take care of everything, and they don't have to supply the management and stuff. But some disadvantages, I know Kennedy was worried about kind of the culture and the process of it all kind of being lost in the growth. And so I know it mentioned that Applebee's and Panera both had really good, or I think it was Applebee's specifically, had really good contact with the management and the franchisees and kind of keeping their process pretty pure and doing well. And so I do think that is a disadvantage with franchises. You don't really, I mean, you set the criteria of what they have to have, but as far as their, I guess, dedication and how well they can run a business, is kind of, it wavers from one person to the other.
Yeah, I think one of the advantages you get to the franchise model, like we talked about, is you can open a lot of restaurants in pretty reasonable, period of time. If you have a proven model and you have good organization and you have good support from corporate, they have proprietary menus and ingredients and stuff like that. The franchise model works great, but you give up some sense of ownership, and you kind of have to trust your franchisees that they're gonna not deviate, that it's gonna be the same culture and the same. So that's really a disadvantage to the franchise model, is you have to trust that it's gonna go just like it would if it were a corporate store, that it's gonna be exactly the way that corporate would want it to be. But I think the biggest advantage with franchise is just simply that you can grow much quicker.
I'm just barely coming back in this conversation, so I don't know what it's been. But just from what I read, I think one of the biggest advantages specifically for Noodles was that it lowered the cost, like the capital cost, a ton. And not only that, but the profit. So it was talking about how the profit margin for the franchise fee revenue was really high. And I think that the biggest downturn for them, which you guys probably already mentioned, was culture. They wouldn't be able to control the culture that was so important to them as much as they would like.
Yeah, one of the other things that I remember reading was the fact that they were worried about getting into the new areas too late because they couldn't open fast enough. And I think franchising would help that because of all the other things we've talked about. They'd be able to get into certain areas faster and earlier than some of the other restaurants.
Yep.
Is that what it's talking about economic? So in the question it says including the financial, economic, and the other
I think so.
location and.
Yeah, I know it. I make joke about this, but it's not an insignificant thing. There's like 30 million people in Texas, and we like noodles, and there's not a single one in Texas. So a franchise model, I mean, that restaurant would do really well. We have major markets in San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas. And when you go a franchise model, you can grow faster. So that's the thing you get when you go franchise that certainly is attractive for them.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have there's none anywhere in Texas. You just
None.
said Kansas. That's
There's
interesting.
60 in Colorado right now, by the way. I'm on their website. And there's like that many in Wisconsin too. And I mean, there's some in Montana. There's some in smaller states. And
Well,
Wisconsin,
I know some companies, they so when you buy in, so in one of my classes, I forget, or Brother Nygren, one of the business professors on campus, he was trying to get in with Applebee's early on, when there was none in Utah or Idaho or anything when they first started. And something that they could do is he could buy the rights to both those states and just own all of them. So I wonder if someone owns the right to Texas and is just waiting for something, or if something. I wonder if someone just owns the rights to it and just isn't doing anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, they've really been deliberate in their targeting of markets. I looked at Arizona. They've got 3 stores. That's a pretty big state. 4 stores, I guess. They're just really deliberate, I guess, in where they grow. So some places they've not grown to. I don't know. Maybe some reasons why. But nevertheless, the franchise model, just going back to it, makes it easier for them to do that. Okay. To help inform your choice, it may be helpful to know the following. We kind of already talked about that. The company wants to reach 300 stores in 2006. There are 58 company-owned stores. Okay. So that's pretty much everything on this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's divvy up who does what this week.
I think I have 1 and 2. I had 7, 8, 9 last week, so I'm at 1 and 2 this week.
I think I'm in 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
so let's
let's talk about that, because is it 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and then
I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9.
okay.
Okay.
5, 7, 8, 9.
That means
I
I have
never know what to put on some of these. Like, record your hypothesis below. Like, what is our hypothesis? What is?
So when you went, did you guys do the pre-discussion poll?
I haven't yet.
Okay, so the question in there, besides did you read the thing, is do you think they should franchise, or do you think they should just keep sole control over the restaurants? So like our hypothesis could be, we think that they should franchising would be better for them at this point, or not to franchise.
Okay. So are you guys gonna, what time do you think you guys are gonna have it done?
I'll have it done in
I'm gonna
10
work on it right
minutes.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just do it now.
Okay. And I will do it now as well.
Well,
Okay.
this will be an easy one.
Right. Anything else?
Are we just going to do the other case Saturday morning again? Are you guys busy?
That works for me. Does that work for you guys?
Are we doing anything Saturday?
10 Central, 9 Mountain.
Should work for me.
Yep. Sounds good. How about you, Brayden? All right.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much,
See you
everyone.
Saturday.
So yeah.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.